Welcome to the Great Awakening Show. I am Joanne, Divine Life Yogini, and on this week's show, we have Charlie Freak back again. Charlie teaches divine wisdom, truth, Christ consciousness, and sacred gematria numerology. In this show, Charlie tells us all about the lies of organized religion and the truth of the Bible, which is not a history book, but a magical, alchemical, and allegorical treatise on human psychology and divinity, teaching us how we can all reclaim our destinies and raise ourselves into Christ consciousness. Charlie and his beautiful partner, Colleen, take care of over 90 animals at their animal rescue sanctuary called the Shire in Mexico. So please donate below. This is part one of Lies of Religion and Truth of the Bible. You can listen to the Great Awakening show and all 42 other shows on UK Health Radio as a podcast on Spotify, Google, Amazon and Apple Music, among others. UK Health Radio, the world's #1 talk health radio.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
Welcome back to the Great Awakening show again. Oh, Charlie, it's so good to have you here. It really is.
It's such a pleasure. Always a pleasure with you, Joanne. And again, Colleen and I thank you very, very much for all of the wonderful things that you've continued to do to bring the truth in a loving, peaceful, commonsensical way to so many. And God is watching and is so thankful for what you're doing, and as are we. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you too. So on this amazing time, Charlie, please teach us the lies. Yeah, teach us about the lies of organized religion versus the truth of the Bible.
Wow. Is Joanne, and you absolutely know it too. And all it ever takes, it's really when Colleen and I, we got to a point in our lives, and this was about 13, 14 years ago now, where we looked at each other and we just said, my goodness, we just don't know anything that is the truth. And neither of us really came from a religious background. We both had a powerful feeling and connection to whatever God was, and we were both good people. We did good things and in our lives, but we recognized that we were so disconnected from whatever we're supposed to be, because we weren't doing the things that we knew we should be doing, and there had to be a way. So we got to a point, we looked at each other and we said, we just don't know anything of the truth, and so we have to accept that fact and let go of all the lies and all the little letters behind our names, and say we really don't know anything, and that we have to find the truth. And so the first thing we did is we dug into ancient cultures. We went to the Mayans, we went to the plains Indians of every single continent. We went into ancient Greece. We went to the Middle East. We went all the way to Atlantis. We went everywhere that we could, seeking whatever truth that could be found. And then as we began to compile everything together, what we found is that they were all saying the same things. We said them a little differently and with different names for certain things, but they were all saying the same thing. And here's what they're all saying, and this is what Colleen and I have taught for 5 years. They shared one story with one path with one way, with one faith, with one belief, with one gnosis, with one purpose, with one goal in mind, and that all of these cultures said you have to rise. You can't be rooted down in Goblin Town. You have to rise, and that heaven, whatever that may be, that heaven is above you, but that above you is within you. And that's what they all taught, is that the kingdom of heaven is within you. And when we got that point, Joanne, the thing that went off like a bell in both of our minds for Colleen and I was this: isn't that what Jesus said? Like, we didn't know a lot about the Bible, didn't have a lot of faith in the Bible. We didn't know much of any of the scriptures. So then what I did is I sat down and I read the King James version of the Bible, 1611 edition, which is I highly recommend for everyone. It's not the be all and end all, but for now it's the best of the sanctioned holy Bibles. And so I read it, and when I read it, it was like, oh my goodness, like it's all there in plain sight. How does anyone not see this? And then I read the Bhagavad Gita.
I know. I've read that so many times. Yeah.
Right? I mean, the conversation.
Vedas.
Yeah. The Vedas, the Upanishads. Yeah. The Buddhist Sutras, the Book of the Dead, then all of the teachings of Zoroaster. And then what we realized is we went from the Mediterranean through the Middle East. We went Babylon to Persia, Iraq, Iran, what they call now. And then that took us into northern India, and this is this period of growth of gnosis. And then you sort of look at the trail from northern India heading in the direction of what we believe to be Atlantis, and then you just sort of see that everything leads back to Atlantis. And then it came through India, northern India in particular, and then of course because of the Himalayas and the Hindu Kush mountains, there's a pass that goes to the north and to the west, which leads directly into Persia. And then that's why Zoroaster, it's when you look at images to this day of Zoroaster always has one finger up, and that's because Zoroaster was first. Zoroaster's first. Why is that? Because Zoroaster is the first that we know of to decode the night sky, which is God's blackboard. And that's why in all ancient teachings, people always taught on a blackboard with white chalk, just because the truth is in the stars, and which is the light of the world. And God is light, God is photon. And so that magnetic, virtuous, pure, unbreakable white light of the stars is symbolized in the chalk on a blackboard. And now, if you look at it, what do they give us? They give us all whiteboards with black, right? So it's just inverted, completely upside down, which is how Joanne, started the show by saying that, please, Charlie, share some truth of the Bible verses than all the lies, because they've inverted everything.
Yeah.
So that's where we started. That's what it led us to, and it was a gift. It was an absolute gift. And then what you saw is that this Christic child is symbolized in every single one of these cultures. And then when you learn astrology on your own terms, again, it's very easy to do. Very easy to do because God made everything very understandable. So when you start to look at this, you go, my God, like the astrological sky clock itself teaches the one story, and that this key figure for all of us would be this Christ figure. So Zoroaster, so Krishna, and Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, and Jesus Christ. And that what you come to realize is that these are not just allegorical stories that relate to the sun and the moon and the sky, and people all think that none of this is true. They're just purely allegorical stories. Yes, that's true. They are allegorically true because it is all written for us ahead of time, proven that nothing that the cabal or anyone can do to obfuscate the truth. It's there written by God on the blackboard of his teachings, and then it plays itself out in the physical world. And so Siddhartha Gautama absolutely existed, was real, is real, and the Buddha is a Christ figure. And nobody should fight or argue about this or say that, my Christ is better than your Christ. Just thank God that you have a Christ that came as the Son of Man to show you the way. And this is the other thing that we noticed, is that it's not just what Jesus Christ said, or it's not just what Siddhartha Gautama said. It's not just what Krishna said. It's not just what Zoroaster said. It's what they did. It's how they lived their lives. And so the very first thing that Colleen and I then did with all of this gnosis is that we have to change our lives. And then that's what we did. We sold everything that we had. We got rid of all forms of debt, and whatever we had left, we took with us, and we went without any kind of plan to Mexico. and we've been here ever since, looking after all these animals, and that was never a plan. That just happened because it's necessary. Because as a kind man and a kind woman, it's what we have to do. It's what anyone would have to do under these circumstances. And so we find ourselves by default serving God and serving God's creation. Not service to self, Satan, service to God and God's creation, shepherd Jesus Christ. And that's when we started to do the work. This is, very famous Charlie Freak always saying, that's why you're here, to do the work. What's the work, Charlie? It's doing the work. So this is my daytime meal, right? And then Colleen and I just snack all throughout the day on what? Fresh fruit. This is watermelon, right? It grows in abundance. And our yard is just fruit tree after fruit tree after fruit tree. And here in Mexico, the only fruit trees that produce once a year are the mangoes, which is sad because we love mangoes.
Yeah.
So much, but you really do see this annual process that's very necessary for the mango. So you're very respectful of these miracle creations. But our orange trees and our grapefruit trees and our lemon trees and our lime trees and our starfruit trees and our dragon fruit trees and our bananas and every other tree, mandarin, orange, every other tree, tangerines, they produce non-stop. As soon as one batch is growing and they're about this size, then new flowers come out. And then what you always get on all of the trees here in the golden zone between the two tropics, Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Tropic of Cancer symbolizes your pineal gland. Tropic of Capricorn symbolizes your pituitary gland. Electricity, magnetism, masculine, feminine, honey, milk. And that's the promised land physically for us, is where the growing season is 365 and a quarter days a year is the growing season. So you just never stop growing your own food. Yeah. And when you look at a map, we've talked about this before, John, but when you look at a map of the Earth, especially, a flat map, you recognize how few people are actually living between the two tropics. It's like, why is everyone above, and then in the southern hemisphere there's not tons of people, but why are they all below this golden zone? And that you come to realize is that we've been forced, we've been pushed into these different countries, locations, cold, and it's so crucial because then it forces you into this animalistic lifestyle and this animalistic diet where you are murdering and eating death to have life. Conceptually, that's why anyone would eat, is you would eat because you want life and because you want health. Well, there's no health in acidic foods. We are alkaline. If you want to argue with that, that's on you. But do any research, and we're alkaline beings. That's what litmus paper shows, right? And litmus paper, green in the middle, and then it's blue rising to magenta at the top, just like your chakras.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And then acidic scale just goes down, down, down to Goblin Town until it's just blood red, until it's absolutely blood red, orange, yellow to orange. These are all symbolizing the chakras again. Solar plexus chakra, yellow, sacral plexus chakra, orange, and the root, muladhara. That's where most people live, they don't know anything else other than the root, muladhara chakra, blood red, with your uncles trapped in Egypt, ruled over by the Pharaoh of Egypt, and you're a slave. And the Pharaoh is your ego, and Egypt is your left brain. And all you ever had to do was get light. Light is as opposed to darkness, and it's as opposed to heaviness. When you get light, just look at Joanne and look at myself. We're both of us exude light physically, metaphysically. You can see in both of us that there's an endless source of light within us, and that's how you rise. By the way, is through the light, and so that's how you get to Israel, the Holy Trinity, Isis, Ra, El, Father, Mother. In this case, Mother, Father, Child, and that's how you get to Israel is by rising up and to the right. And as we rise energetically within ourselves and we get to the throat chakra, which is blue, becoming Tiffany blue, to purple in the third eye chakra, to where the magenta crown of Christ, which is above us, then that's casting thy net to the right, which is activating your pineal gland, which is the honey. And then my life is preserved. When Jacob, in Genesis 32:30, Jacob leaves his family behind, crosses the river alone, fights his ego for 24 hours until an emissary of God approaches, some say God himself, approaches Jacob and says, are you going to stop or quit at any point? Jacob says, no, never, because my purpose is to seek God. And so this emissary asks Jacob, what is thy name? And Jacob says, Jacob. And he says, that is too poor a name for thee. I shall call you Israel, and give to you the promised land flowing with milk and honey. It's all inside of you. It's all inside of you, folks. And every passage in the Bible, every passage in the Bhagavad Gita, the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna is for the ages. If you haven't read the conversation between Arjuna, who is a righteous man who wants to do the right things in his life, but is still missing the mark so much, and because he has no common sense. He's worldly wise in many of these things, and he's a deep thinker. And Krishna is going, no, that's your problem, is that you're always thinking. And what's the number one teaching of Jesus Christ in the Bible? Showing you this uniform connection between Zoroaster, Krishna, Buddha, and Christ. All four taught the exact same thing. Take no thought for your life. Take no thought for your life. Stop thinking, because you're trapped in Egypt. Your thought is... The only place that thought exists in your head is in the left hemisphere of the brain, which is Egypt, ruled over by the Pharaoh. And the Pharaoh is your ego. And your ego is not you. It's the cabal. It's the Rothschilds. It's the Rockefellers. It's the boogeyman. It's the bad guys. And it's always working against you, never for you. It's the dime. It's the 10%. That's why your left brain is it's the same size as the right hemisphere of the brain. Those are the two cherubim or cerebrum of your skull. And they're both the same size, and yet the left brain is only 10% of the brain's capacity, which is why scientists, laughing in your face, will release things and say, did you know that most people only use about 10% of the brain's capacity? They're laughing at you because fear, they have you trapped in the thinking brain. Worry, fret, fear. And then you're predictable. They can read your minds. They've got all these technologies. No, you're just predictable. When you're in fear, you're predictable. They don't have any special technology. They don't have any magical powers. They don't jump to Mars. They never went to the moon. They can't read your mind. They're not able to clone. They don't know how to do anything. That's the left brain. The left brain is the linear brain. It's facts, figures, and logic. And all they can do is take somebody else's creation, and then they categorize it and they analyze it. And that's all they do. That's what the left brain does. So they're not the ones that create the great music. We are. But we have to within their satanic music industry. They're not the ones that create these incredible movies that are out there. We are. But we have to make them within their Hollywood. Holly is magic. It's white magic. It's good. But they turned it black because that's what they do. It's like everyone today, everyone in the truth community absolutely hates Freemasons and think that Freemasons are pure evil. No, they're not. Freemasons exist. Freemasons are the modern variation of the Knights Templar. And the Knights Templar and the Freemasons exist to do two things. One is to protect the bloodline of Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene, which is very real. They're the ones that are behind all of this takedown of the cabal from A to Z. It's the good guys, it's Christ, it's Mary, it's all real, it's all happening. It's happening within you and it's happening outside of you as well. And all you have to do is be in alignment to it. So all they do is they take that which is righteous and pure. There's no bad numbers and there are no bad letters, even in the Bible. The number that is most hated amongst most people in the world today is the triple digit combination of 666. What does the Bible literally say about 666? It is the mark of that of a man or that of a beast. You choose. 666 is righteous. 6 is the sixth in-body chakra, which is the third eye chakra, which is the optic thalamus. And the optic thalamus is known as the light of the world. Jesus Christ is known as the light of the world. You were supposed to rise Christic energy, your Christic energy, to the third ventricle of your brain, which is dominated in the very center, centermost part, in the very inner center part of your skull. Everything happens from here above, the sphenoid bone above. This is flat earth. There's the firmament. There's the flat earth. What is the sphenoid bone? It is a single, round, flat disc plate inside your head that connects to every other bone inside of your head. And above it rests the third ventricle of the brain, which is the magic. It's alchemy. It's where everything happens within you. And that is the number 6 because that is the 6th chakra, which is the highest in-body chakra, which is known as the third eye chakra. And that's why Tesla said, if you understand the significance of 3, 6, and 9, you'll be able to determine the total magic of this creation. 3, 6, 9. 3, 6, 9. 3, the mother, 6, the child, 9, which is divinity. 9, what's the 9th letter of the alphabet? Is the letter I, which is a single eye resting above a pillar. And your pillar is your spine. And a single dot is your third eye, and that's divinity. And that's why all vines rise. And by the way, every single morning, when no matter where you are on earth, every single vine that rises, as it rises in the morning, it faces God and Jesus Christ rising in the east. Every single vine. There's not one vine that is an exception to this. They all face east. And if you grow sunflowers for yourself, which I recommend you do, they're divine, very, very healthy divine food source as well. But if you know your sunflower plant, you'll know that every single morning, a sunflower, what do? The sunflower cranes its head and faces the sun rising in the east and follows it and follows it. And you don't think that plant is alive? That plant has wisdom? Yeah.
It's the same with my dogs. My dogs, every morning, they're always sitting there in the sun. They know they need the prana, the energy.
Prana, exactly. So for the Eastern cultures, they call it prana. We call it ether, which is the central tenet to Nikola Tesla's teachings. And that's the biggest thing, again, with Einstein, the Jesuits. Einstein's the sort of the puppet frontman for the Jesuit theories of relativity, special and then general relativity, which they could never account for motion because there is none. So they attributed to gravity, which nobody has ever been able to prove exists, because it doesn't exist. But when you go back to to these theories, that's what they're constantly doing. They're taking the miracle, the magic, and again, that's the right hemisphere of the brain. So what I said earlier, the dime, the 10%, the left brain is facts, figures, and logic, and only 10% of the brain's capacity. Well, what's the 90? That's your right brain. 90%. In gematria, we don't count the zeros, so then that would be 9. It's 1 and 9. And 1, 9 is surrender. 19 is surrender to God. That's what the symbology of the number 19 means, is surrender to God. And then what's the opposite of 19? 91. And what's the gematria for the word mirror? 91. Do you think that's a coincidence? So surrender to God is 19. The gematria for the word mirror is 91. So that's the thing in this world. When things are going wrong, look in the mirror, and the opposite image tells you the truth. So if they're telling us to murder animals and eat meat, dairy, and eggs, that as the basis to our food source, and then eat these fake processed food, it's just unbelievable. To be a food, it can't have ingredients and can't have packaging. An apple is food. Cinnamon flavored apple crisps is not food. That's called processed food, and it's not food. By any stretch of the imagination, it's not. And most people eat processed food to accentuate their meat, dairy, and eggs. And all of those are acidic, and you are alkaline. Once again, just go to litmus paper, and it shows you from the green middle way of the mother in the middle, and then everything is the Tiffany blue, all the way up to the purple, all the way up to the magenta, and those are your chakras above, and that's alkalinity. That's the measurement of alkalinity from green to magenta through the spectrum of blue, which is the sky, which is high, which is what you have to become as high. And but then if you write that into a rock song, it's a drug song, and it gets banned because getting high. Unbelievable. But and then when you look at litmus paper, everything below the middle mother, Mary, Mare, magnetism, M, 13 of 26, 13th letter of the alphabet is the letter M, 13 of 26 letters, the middle. And in the middle is the green earth, the mother, which is life. Everything above is alkalinity, everything below is acidity. What are the colors below? Again, it goes into yellow to orange and then to blood red, and those are all acidic. That's what meat, dairy, and eggs are. They're perfectly acidic. So they're great for no one really. Because even carnivores, they don't actually eat the flesh and tissue. They lap blood. They may eat organs only because the organs are filled with blood, but they're blood drinkers. Just like the Canaanites, who were the 10%, the left brain monsters who killed Abel and ate Abel. Cannibal. Cannibalism is Cain ate Abel. Get it? Cannibal, Cain, Abel. Cannibal, Cain ate Abel. Cain didn't just murder Abel, he ate Abel, and it's the same story that's been going on. That's why Q and all these things you hear about what's going on behind the scenes, it's biblical, you bet, because it's all Cain versus Abel. Cain is your left brain, and Abel is your right brain. This is literally that simple. So everything within the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, all of these, the Veda, the Upanishads, the Buddha Sutras, all of these wonderful sacred teachings, sacred gospels that are there to give us the simple truth. They all mirror one another, they all connect with one another, and they're all sharing the exact same thing, that life is alkalinity, and that to live, then you must take that which the mother provides. And so all of the books are profoundly feminine, because all of the books are profoundly saying that before you get him, you first have to get her, and then together we rise to get him. So look at the word together. Break it down. It's 3 words. To get her. And it makes the word together. Together is to get her. This is a truth in plain sight. This is how the Gnostics and the Essenes created all of our language forth, by putting the truth in plain sight. So the very first, what is the work, Charlie? I want to do the work, and I want to connect. I want to be Christ-like, and I want to rise to God in heaven. I want to have this connection that you have, and that you talk about, and that you demonstrate. How do you do this? By getting on your knees humbly, penitently before God and before the Mother Earth and saying, "Oh Mother, I need you. You are the first creation of the Father, and you are perfection and grace. Please, please, please give me your perfection and grace." And the Mother will answer you. She'll powerfully answer you much in the same way that God answers you. And she'll say the one thing, "Then serve my creation, for I am the mother of all life on this earth." The energy flows from God, but the matter is through the mother. Now, how do you know that that's literally the truth? Matter is from the mother. Let's just take a quick little look. Once again, truth in plain sight. The English language, so simple, and everything is laid out for us.
That's right. And the mother, the mother heals us. Once you start going into nature, she changes you. She's your first one. It's the first one, to get to rise to God.
So everything that is physical or solid, that we think is the only thing, many people think is the only thing that is real, is dominated by what is called matter. Now, in Greek and Latin, and going back further east, the root of mother is mater, pia mater, and the dura mater. So this is the pia mater, which is how your brain works as well. On the outside is the dura mater, which is the hard shell, protects what's inside. Then there's the spider's web, the arachnid, which is all of these fibers crossed like a spider's web, so that it's unbelievably strong in between, so that it doesn't come apart, holds everything together. And then on the inside of your skull is the pia mater. Pia is soft mother. So there's the hard mother and the soft mother, and in between is the arachnid, which is this web that holds the pia mater and the dura mater together. But matter is mother. So your entire skull is named after the mother, because that's where it comes from. All matter comes from the mother. And the root of the word mother is mater. And mater is matter. They just added a second T to make it more physical. Because what does the letter T symbolize? This is the physicality of being upon the cross and the physical. You have to get off the cross. The Catholic Church, cross. Jesus is on a cross. Cross. Jesus on a cross. Jesus was on a cross momentarily, a blip in his life. And that's all the Catholic Church wants to talk about. That's all they want you to see. What did Jesus do? He went on the cross to symbolize that there's nothing that they can do to him. Nothing. They have no power over Jesus. So they're hammering spikes into him, nails into him. They're hammering into a cross. And he's on there for a very short while. And what's the first thing Jesus does? He gets off the cross. And where does he go? Up and to the right, 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 up and to the right. Because he activated his pineal gland upon the cross. He got off the cross. And now he sits at the right-hand side of God in heaven. But Jesus, by anyone who does that, means that you can't die of the physical. So then they bury the body of Jesus Christ, and they put fabric over his beautiful face, and that's the Shroud of Turin, which is real, which exists. You're going to see all of this. It'll show you the rare blood type, and that's the blood type of this beautiful line, which is the Order of the Sacred Blue Rose, which, again, grew out of southern France, which is where Mary left after the crucifixion of Jesus, to southern France. And this is the beginning of the Knights Templar, who were sworn, like the Masons, sworn to protect the bloodline and to protect God's truth. And they're very secretive about the truth. That's why if you ever go into a Mason's temple, you have to be blindfolded, because you have to earn this truth. All of us, it's all taught this way. It's all taught in just little layers. And these layers just begin to add up, and you rise higher and higher, taller and taller upon these epidermals, upon the skin of truth, the whole way to see the wholeness. Because it's all about getting higher, because that's perspective. The only way that you can become wiser is when you see more. And the only way you can see more is to get high. But that's a drug song, so we can't have that. It's just unbelievable. So, matter. Mother, so the matter, which is the physicality, which makes up our cells, everything else in the physical form is matter, comes from the mater, which is the mother. And so the only way to get him, the only way to get God, is first to get her. And that is symbolized in the word together. So when you look at the gematria of the word God, let's just quickly do this, okay? So we'll show everybody here, G-O-D. G is 7, O is 15, D is 4. If you add 7, 15, and 4 together, that's 26. How many letters in the alphabet? A to Z, there are 26 letters. If you add them all up together, A being 1, B being 2, C being 3, Z being 26, it equals 351. Go to any gematria site and look up 351. God coded the truth in the English alphabet, 351. Jesus Christ taught the alphabet, 351. Look at all of the phrases, the terms, the expressions attached to 351 in gematria. That's staggering. So the whole truth of everything is in your alphabet. That's that book that eventually I will get done and have everyone the hieroglyphics of the English language, because the whole truth is from A to Z, because A is also a number. A is 1 and Z is 26. And A is a shape, which is alpha, which is phallic, which is father, and Z is 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Easy as do, re, mi. I'm talking about baby, you, and me. It's all there. It's the three. It's the father up and to the right, the child going up and to the right, and then the mother down and to the right. So that is the mother, this is the child, and this is God in heaven. And of course, that's why it's a pyramid. That's why a pyramid has a capstone. That's why they use triangles, because there's your triangle in the letter Z, and that's where you have to get to. Okay, so if you look at this, look at the number 13. Number 13, and they talk about this is obfuscated in the Bible, but it's in the Bible everywhere. So Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene of Magdala, M. Everywhere you look for the feminine is M. M is the 13th letter of the alphabet. It's the middle way. The middle chakra is the heart chakra, which is the green chakra, which is all life emanates through the heart chakra, and that is 4 of 7. There are 7 chakras. It's the 4th. That means there's 3 above and 3 below, and that is the middle way. That's the middle way. It's the heart chakra, and it's green because it's the mother, because upon this Mother Earth, she takes God's the golden colored light, which is white from the sun, and she turns it through photosynthesis into protoplasm, which is green, which is all the basis of life. So anyone who is eating animals, if you ask, there was a huge study that was done just about 8 years ago by one of the bigger universities in America, and they asked people, why do you eat animals? If you're a meat eater, why do you eat animals? A lot of people say, well, because, it's what everybody else does. It's what I was taught to do. I like the taste or whatever. No, you don't. No, you don't. Nobody likes the taste of an animal or a fish. Do the test. Do the test. What the test is? Put a fish or put a steak in a blender with a little orange juice and then drink it. See how you like that. But take a mango and put it in a blender with a little orange juice and see how you like that. Take an apple, put it into a blender with a little orange. See how you like that. Nobody likes the taste of animals or mammals, fish, and all of this stuff. You coat it in alcohol. You coat it in sugar. Well, it's like bourbon-flavored barbecue sauce. It's just sugar, which is fake sugar. It's not real sugar. It's fake sugar. And it's yellow number 5 and red number 3 and blue number 6, which are all cancer-causing. And that's what you do. You just plop all these coverings on all of your shit food. And that's why when you look at the last Matrix movie, the Matrix Resurrections, which is the 4th of the Matrix movies, that's why in the movie 5 times, one for each of your in-body chakras, one for your 5 physical senses, 5 times they showed the neon sign saying, for those who love to eat shit, or a variation of that. The one sign said sabor a mierda, which is the flavor of shit, and then the other big sign where it said Anderson's. The store was in neon light was Anderson's, and at the bottom it was for those who love to eat shit. And so the Matrix is that world, is that illusory prison reality where most people find themselves in, and it's only for those who love to eat shit. So when you stop eating shit and you take that of the mother, then you get him. So what is doing the work? It all starts by by realizing that this is all your cells need and this is all your cells want. So most people in that study, they said, well, I eat meat, of course, for protein because we need protein. No, you don't. No, you don't. In fact, too much protein is actually cancer causing. It works against you. In fact, because it's acidic forming. And the second aspect is only plants can create protein. So when you eat an animal for your protein, it's coming.
Yes,
Because that animal that you murdered is eating plants. And so we've created an industry where we have to force rape and breed 1 trillion sentient creations per year. Fish and animals, all of this stuff. 1 trillion. We and then force create 1 trillion per year, and then we murdered them all, and you eat their dead, rotting carcasses, and you think that that's tickety-boo? Where do all fish, where do all animals get their protein from? From living. So fish, things like kelp and seaweed and the little plankton. Plankton is plankton.
Yeah.
It's organic growth inside of the seas because that's the only place where they get their protein from. So if you think you need protein, I don't need protein. I don't need any protein to survive at all. It's not what my cells need. My cells need one thing and one thing only. This. You know what this is? Sugar. And what have they done? What have they done within the mainstream media with regard to sugar? Charlie! Oh my God, sugar is evil. It's going to kill you. No, this is real sugar. This is the mother sugar, not that shit you put in when you bake this or put that. That's fake sugar. That's processed sugar. Processed flour, fake. Processed sugar, fake. Processed salt, fake. What are the 3 key ingredients to every single processed food that you buy in a store, including like a Doritos chip? Processed flour, processed salt, processed sugar. It's all fake. They all kill you. They're all just death. You're not getting old and dying at 70. You're being poisoned to death. When you're born, you're getting your toxins. When you're born, you're given a minimum, I guarantee you, a minimum of 1,000 years. And if you're alive like Joanne's alive, she knows that this is intrinsically, she knows what I'm saying is true, because there's so much to learn, there's so much to do. 1,000 years is basically scratching at the surface of everything that we can come to know and do. Why would God do that? If you get out of your asshole and you stop thinking that it's a random explosion, the Big Bang, there was nothing, and then there was a random explosion, and then there's everything, and it's all sympathetically connected to one another in perfection, in absolute perfection, but that just randomly happened by an uncaring, cold universe, that there's no love, there's no warmth, there's no created. Get your head out of your ass and see for the first time. You have 3 eyes. 2 eyes through which that you can have vision of this earth, and then there's 1 eye that you see through, and that is pyramid. That is a triangle, and that's why they call it the 3rd ventricle of the brain, because there's 3 points: 1, 2, 3. 3rd ventricle of the brain, because that's the inner room. So if you go back to the Bible, I'm going to go through this here in just a sec, these different key passages within the Bible showing you this. This is why in Solomon's temple it's all about climbing Jacob's ladder, which it's straight in the middle, but then there's the curving staircase, the Ida and the Pingala, the masculine and the feminine, the twin serpents. Never ever look at snakes or serpents as uniformly bad. They're not. When a snake or serpent is shown to you rising, it's divine. When it is coiled down below in a position, like a threatened position, like it's going to strike, then it's evil. When you look at all of the evil representations of snakes and serpents, they're always coiled up. But the high version of the serpent and snake, that should never ever make you fear, like the cobra, who listens to the man playing the flute and rises to the whistles, the etheric sounds from the heavens above, and it uncoils itself 3.5 times and rises up. That is beautiful. That is divine. That is righteous. That is white magic. That's not black magic. Never ever look at anything as purely evil. It isn't. They're all God's creations. You think that for uttering this specific word, every single letter is perfection. Every single number is perfection. 6 is not evil. 66 is not evil. 66 is completion. 6 is the journey within you. 6 below, 6 above. 6 and 6 is 12. 12 is the completion of God's journey, and 1 plus 2 is 3, which is the divinity. Once again, the third ventricle, the 3, the Father, the Mother, the Jah, the letter Z, the pyramid, the triangle. So they're all perfect. And 666, the Bible says, is that of a man or that of a beast? It's your choice. It's what you do. If you're in Egypt, you're a serpent. You're a beast. You are coiled and you're going to strike. But if you're in your right brain, you're the risen serpent, uncoiled 3.5 times. Now, why does the Bible teach? Why is that the way of Moses and Moses' serpent in the devil? So again, in the Bible, Moses was struggling. What's happening right now, Charlie and Colleen are struggling trying to get all of the masses across, Egypt and get them to the Red Sea. And then he's saying, we got to cross the Red Sea. Oh, but there's water and I'm not going to swim and it's too far and they're coming after us. I'm just going to turn around and go back and be a slave. It's so much easier than to follow you, Moses. I hate you, Moses. And so they were rebelling and they were openly speaking against Moses and of God. And then so suddenly the vipers, the asps came out of the sand in the desert, these little snakes, and they were biting at these fallen forms that were hating upon Moses, who was showing them the way and leading them to salvation, to the right, to the east, cross. They were openly calling down God, and these asps were striking them. And Moses is going, I can't heal all of them. There's too many, and within a week they're all going to be dead. What do I do, O Lord? What do I do? And in a vision, God showed him, cast down your rod, cast down your spine, cast down your stick, cast it down, and watch it turn into an uncoiling snake. And so that's what Moses did. Moses took his staff and he fashioned, being good in metallurgy, he fashioned a snake uncoiling 3.5 times upon the stake. And then that's what Moses presented. And all he had to do was show it to them. He stuck it in the ground, and then they suddenly, somehow, they knew. So what's the symbology of the serpent rising and uncoiling 3.5 times? A circle is 360 degrees, 369, right? 360 degrees, which is everything. And that's magnetism, by the way. Magnetism is a field, but it's a circular field where the center is this little white light photon, and that everything emanates from the center out. It's an inside-out world, not an outside-in, which they've got you believing. They've got you all believing that it's an out, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's an inside-out world, magnetism. And So in that's how magnetism works, and that's how a circle works, and that's why no tile left behind, because it's 360 degrees, and magnetism distributes fairly equally 360 angles, which are angels of God. 360, so everybody gets their fair share, and that.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.